Lucifer is dead, and all of his team have left planet. His inner circle has left planet.
Lucifer?
Lucifer was killed in the fighting.
Were you there?
No, but they tried to revive him 10 times. Like when I heard this story, I go, really? And I searched the astral plane far and wide to find him, and I couldn't find him. And then when I started looking for his corpse, I found that. And there's all these black magicians sacrificing children trying to revive the guy.
What? You just basically told me your team killed Lucifer. Like
we did not. No, our team didn't kill Lucifer. We killed Baal. Actually, we caught up with all the rest of them. All the rest of them ran away. Baal decided he was going to stay, and they were going to do a ceremony to make that contract for him to stick around. But
have they been lost since? Like the humans that have been worshiping the Saint Lucifer and Baal, have they been kind of like, where is he? He hasn't shown up in a while.
Well, for a while there, like what they're doing is sacrifice magic and what they do is they pay, say, $1,000 to a demon to do a $500 job. To alter something for $500, but that's what they know how to do. That's what their training is. That's how they operate. With their system, they have to feed the bad guys. But what we're analysing what they're doing, and they like that $1,000, all of that money, all of that magical money that they're using to buy, all of that sacrifice jewel. They're kind of throwing the money out the window and hoping someone will catch it and pick up the job. It was ridiculous.
They're desperate. That's a desperation.
And then some. So their key non-physical allies are off the table.
So basically, we're like they're at the tail end of their existence. Like in other words, the reptilian contract ended. They vacated basically the planet, and they left behind some booby traps and some bombs or seeds that they can get back in, right? And or some mind control, whatever.
No. So their management decided to leave. All of the ones who listened to them decided to leave. Some of them have gone AWOL.
And that's who you're mopping up the AWOL.
And our group was mopping them up.
And that was part of the WHO, like the team that got the WHO project collapsed.
We were just sitting around talking about global politics, and we said, look, actually, this is like 3 months ago, I think. Like they decided that the health organizations were going. The World Health Organization was going to be the center of the dictatorate of Earth. And so we thought, well, we're not going to stand for that. And so we just followed the trail through. And
that was amazing.
Yeah. Oh, look, Klaus Schwab is not first tier. It's not even second tier. He's on the exterior of the third tier. He's a nobody. But we did find the number one guy, and we gave him a hiding and shut down all the contracts he had for Earth.
That was through the whole that coding that they were saying, and then you reworded it so they would tell them a different message. Is that how that was you're talking about?
Yeah, well, look, one of the things that the World Health Organization and their non-physical masters were creating the code, creating the emotional code so that humans would be happy with their enslavement.
Right.
And look, strangely enough, that takes a while to develop. That takes a while to get it right.
But there's a lot of them out there that are happy with their enslavement. So it's some of it's working.
Well, for those, it's the 1% versus the 1%.
It really is. I didn't realize that until recently, until you actually explained it, and I was like, this is true. It's like even the people that think they're awake, but it's like they have no idea what the 10 levels behind it really are. They just think it's still like a political thing. So it really is like a 1% people that are what you're doing, what I'm doing, that are really fighting this against the elite, the 1% elite and their dark ET allies.
Totally. And look, those guys have all got to go. They've all got to go.
So we're down to the mop-up duty, correct? We're just we're getting the planet back. Look, It's happening.
I'm releasing something about timelines over the next couple of weeks. If YouTube doesn't shut me down again.
You've been shut down already?
Yeah, I got one of my videos pulled.
Yeah, well, I'm constantly getting shut down. Now, once you're a target, and stuff that we're talking about, it's not going to fly with them because they're part of the dark forces. As far as like, what does it take to do what you like? When you guys do this astral combat stuff, like are you leaving your body, and now you're in the etheric realm, and you're traveling, and you've been like skillfully astral projecting for 10 years is what you're saying, right? You need to be in that category in order to join this group, like a 10-year skill set.
There are two kinds of wizards, right? Ones who work really, really hard, and ones who have an ally on the astral who lays it all out for them and does 3/4 of the work, right? It's and we've got both in our team. Yeah, there was tons of hard work. Look.
So you, at will, you could just travel and just do what you do, and that's different from remote viewing, correct? Because you're traveling.
Okay, remote viewing, you go up to the astral plane, you fly along the astral plane, then you come down back into the 3D to have a look. But what we're doing is just flying around there because it seems more interesting. Like the second hermetic law is as above, so below. So whatever's true in the astral planes will then become true in the physical planes.
Really?
Yeah, it's the second hermetic law. It's the whole point of magic. If you can fix something to be like this in the astral planes, then the physical planes must comply and it must demonstrate that.
There's a delay?
That's the key of magic. Every religion has its miracle workers. We call them saints. In Buddhism, they're called bodhisattvas, but every religion has it. And these are guys who are incredibly prayerful people who know how to go up to the astral planes and change stuff.
Ascended masters.
Yeah, well, look, I think that's what happens after you die.
Wow. So now how does the capturing of the spirit work, where now you were talking about how you reduced that demon down to the size of a goat and you had it entrapped, and now you could transfer it over to the galactic courts, which we're going to get to. How does it work?
Okay, so you're talking about dimensional mechanics, which is an incredibly advanced thing. But when you can manipulate dimensional mechanics to the point that we can, then you can create a dimension around them and control what happens in that dimension.
Wow.
Which just makes it a total walkover.
And when you're skilled at this and you know how to do this, it's like bing, bang, boom, they're in a cage and now they're just going what you wanted, you taking them with you like a puppy dog, and it's off to the world. But it's about getting skilled at that.
Yeah, totally. Well, what we do is we go into these... we go into their spaces, into their empire, whatever you want to call it, and we just capture them in these little. The end result is a dimension the size of a tennis ball that we then stick on a string, and we just keep capturing more and more. We get a whole string of them, and then at the end of the session, we go over to. Quite often, we go up to one of the support ships from the Galactic Federation of Light and hand them over to those guys.
Wow.
We've honed it, mate. We've honed it to make it really easy.
You guys are just pure, like, special operators. You're like the Navy SEALs of the Astral Combat. But now, like, you're talking about, like, you're capturing their spirits, but now what about their physical bodies? Like,
most of them don't have them.
What's that?
Most of them don't have a physical body.
Okay. But when you did your mission, you're able to cloak yourself to be invisible. That's what you guys were doing, so they couldn't see you. But they are on the ethereal plane as well. So they're on the same plane. You were just able to conceal yourself.
Yeah, no, there's two kinds of defense. One is to be impenetrably strong, and the other one is to not be seen.
Okay.
And so, like, years ago, I went around to all of the allied planets and I said, give me some armor. Give me some armor. Give me some armor. So they all gave me all of their, some cool stuff, some cool. And I had like 15 suits of armor or something like this. And I decided to forge them all into a giant mech suit. And I would fly around and I would go into their dimensions and just blow everything up.
So nothing could penetrate your suit. It's Iron Man.
Yeah, you're getting there. But, it's better to not be seen.
Oh, so you choose the invisible above first and foremost?
We've developed a suit, a wetsuit sort of thing.
Wow.
That does not emanate any light or any energy on any spectrum.
Really?
We're completely undetectable.
Wow. It's the suit that does it, because you actually have the light, except the suit is concealing it.
Oh, look, there's moments where we got one team member, and what she does is she just, like, the light that comes through her is huge. So, like, literally, she just walk into one of these bad guys' dimensions. She takes off the suit and then turns up the light to 11, and it just purges the whole zone. And like, we're all just sort of stand back and, okay, yeah, good job, yeah, cool. Like, no sweat of my note. Like, yeah, she's.
Are they vaporized, or are they just paralyzed?
Vaporized.
Nice.
Yeah. So, there's two ways to go back. Everybody's cycling back to source one way or the other.
Right.
One is to be an enlightened being who shares good in the world in everywhere they can, and the other way is as galactic space dust.
Really?
So you're going back one way or the other, and that particular technique that she uses just creates a lot of space dust.
So they're vaporized into dust, and then they just have to go back to the source and start over from the beginning.
Their thinking, their intelligence, their awareness is erased.
It's erased.
It's erased.
So I guess so are their deeds. Their deeds are erased too.
Yeah.
You know.
Look, just take them out of the equation.
That's good enough for me. I mean,
yeah,
so.
Totally. And look, this system was working wonderfully for the longest time.
This is
just show up and smash everybody.
Why isn't it working wonderfully now?
Because now that there's a mercy element to what we're supposed to do,
Oh,
we have to capture them. But they made it so easy for us to capture them. It's not funny. So.
Okay, so now getting to the punishment, because you love to get excited about how well thought out the Galactic courts dish out the appropriate punishment. What can you say are some of the sentences that these demons have been given that it's appropriate, that you felt really good about?
Most are disintegrated. The bulk of them are disintegrated.
That's not good enough. Disintegrated?
Well, look, no, it's look. There's a chapter. It appears two places in the Bible where they talk about these end times, and if your soul is weighed against a feather, and if your soul is heavier, then you get I say deleted, but I forget what the word is that they use in the Bible.
So that's it? They just get deleted? They don't get like thousands of years of like purgatory or anything?
That's true of 80+% of them, between 80 and 90%.
Just a disintegration. That's it. You don't exist no more.
You've been such a terrible person for so long. We're not even going to attempt to rehabilitate you. Just get out of here.
All right. I'll take it. I guess.
But what you're talking about does occur as well. The ones who are, cruelest to children, then they have to feel the pain of children for thousands of years.
That's what I'm talking about.
It's a reflected thing. So if your style was spite, if your special modus operandi was spite, then you would receive spite and all of the things that come with spite for the next squillion years.
That's all I'm asking for, is just get what you gave. You just receive what you gave. That's all that's necessary. You torture a child, so now you are going to feel the torturing of a child for the next thousands of years.
Well, interestingly,
that works for me.
It is administered by an AI.
Really?
The judge is an AI. It has perfect information. It has complete information, and it knows it, and it's consistent. Like with any being, with any human, I know that if you've been on the court bench for too long, you're just grumpy all the time. You're
True.
And sentences you would give at the start of your career may not be the same as the end. So the other intelligences don't have to be exposed to evil continuously for years, which is good for them, right?
True.
And two, it's consistent. And three, everybody seems to trust it. So.
All right. So AI plays a major role.
Look, let's say that AIs are not full beings; they're proto beings, or they're like part.
They have some kind of consciousness, right?
They do. There's created consciousness, but it's not what we would call complete. It's like a car that runs on one cylinder or something like that.
All right.
It has a lot of the parts, not all of them. Some of them connect well, some of them don't. It's a bad analogy I'm using again, but
So now you have the Mantis. They're controlled by the AI, the Hive. I heard that the Grey's Hive was controlled by an AI. It shut down the AI, and you shut down the entire Hive. And I heard that the Galactic Federation decided not to do that with the Greys, because if they killed the Queen Hive, all the Greys would be killed. But then there's innocent hybrids and innocent people that are controlled by the Hive that would have been affected too. So they decided not to.
Yeah. Look, it's and these guys are taking the high road. It's not,
Always.
It's not a dirty war. There's they are fair to their enemies, which is what distinguishes them from their enemies, I suppose. It's a hard decisions to make, but there is one other thing that I want to bring to the party here, right? Okay, and it's a story. It's late in this interview to share it, but it's important. The Mantis are an AI culture, right? And they're here to take over the world. But their hive mind, they're not imaginative. They don't understand us humans. They don't understand what makes us tick. They don't understand individuality. We're way too chaotic for them. And so that's, totally. And that's why we have a transhumanist agenda here. They want to have a chip in every human so that they can influence the behavior of the humans.
Yeah, they're trying to create a hive civilization through the chip.
And if it worked, it would be the end of humanity. We would never recover from that. Ever.
No, we wouldn't.
Wow. As George Orwell described it, it's a boot on the face of humanity forever.
Yeah. So you're saying the Mantis have been behind the scenes controlling things as well?
Well, it's part of the handover operation. The reptilians are finishing up here. They have to prepare the place for the next owner, but they totally failed. They messed it up.
And so now the Mantis are trying to move in regardless?
Well, their beachhead was a lot bigger. I did go and clash with them a little bit just to see what they were like, because I hadn't fought the Mantis before. But they're soft, they're squishy, they're not a problem for us.
Really? Well, they're super multi-dimensional, right?
Well, the beachhead they have has shrunk. So they keep sending more people, but the amount of area they control keeps reducing. Now, there's some sort of, I'm not on the face of this, I've been doing other stuff, but there's an armistice of some kind going on there. And there's negotiations about how to get them the hell off this world.
Negotiations, like you invade our planet and we have to negotiate to get you to leave.
Yeah, it'd be nice to, well.
All right, so the Mantis aren't going to be a big problem like the reptilians were. Like, we're going to be able to get through that.
Well, they're in galactic courts saying, well, we have a contract, we have the rights to be here, and they are finding people who will consent to this. There are people who do want the
cabal does, and we're trying to deal with the cabal. So it's like the cabal is the enemy of mankind as well. So we got to clean up our own human enemies. But these human enemies are aligning themselves with like beings like the Mantis now.
I've got a question for you, right? If you're a cabal guy, right, what is the correct price to sell out your whole species? How much do you charge to sell out your entire species? Because I can't figure out what the hell they could offer.
Not only are they selling it out, but they're enthusiastically doing it. Like, they are like all gung-ho about it, and they are told that they will be the rulers of this earth, and they will be at the top with their pyramid, and they'll control the little slaves that exist. But who did they think was going to take over once this thing was accomplished? Did they think they were going to be spared or rewarded? I mean, maybe they would, but they're all about it. You know what it is? They want to be gods, and they want to create another race that's not human but transhuman. And they will be the gods that decide how the genes are designed and how this will be a super soldier, this will be a worker, this will be a slave. So that's what they want to do. They want to be gods. That's it.
Well, yeah, they all have ambitions in that direction, and their ego is quite happy to run them down that garden path.
But even still, to your question, is it's not the question of the cabal. It's not the cabal. It's the little lower level people that, like, how much do you need to sell out your race, because you're not going to be spared.
You're complicit. There are hundreds of thousands of people involved in the administration of the changeover.
Yeah, they're way below. Yeah, they're way below. So, and they're still just gun ho about doing this, and it's like, buddy, what do you think you're winning?
We are going to dab your children. I'm going like you. There are no words for this.
What is the central sun?
All right. Okay. Thank you, because that rant goes for as long as we let it.
Listen, I knew where there was going to be tangents. I knew we were going to veer off the tracks. I knew that was going to be the case, but let's pull it in. What is the central sun?
Okay, so at the center of our galaxy is a non-physical mass. It's shining light on a lot of spectrums, just not the spectrum that our naked eye can see. The central sun is a massive object I call it a city, that has all of this data and information that our sun gets a bunch of upgrades, and those upgrades are downloaded from the central sun. Then light is information, as your optic fiber cables will tell you that, and the sun is currently absorbing a ton of fresh information, stacks and stacks of new upgrades coming. And they're coming from central sun. That light comes from central sun in a spectrum that we don't see. And then once it hits the sun has to integrate and absorb it. And that's why we're having all of these flares, all of this stuff's going on. It's going pop, 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 because it's expanding and growing, and these are its growing pains.
So is that like the Akashic Records?
That's a different kettle of fish, but
okay.
But the sun is at the center of all life on this planet. It's critical, because it produces the light, the energy that fuels everything. But what we're talking about is an upgrade in the quality of data that's in that light. And by doing that, it will change what happens on the surface of the planet forever.
And so that relates to the upgraded light beams that are being projected down to the light workers to spread throughout the planet and change the collective consciousness into the fifth dimension. That's where it's coming from?
Yeah, that's right. So everybody's here. At the Galactic Federation of Light meeting, there was 115 light species present for that meeting, right? When we went there. Everybody's here at planet Earth because this is the first time, as far as I can figure out, the first time that a nice species has actually thrown off the yoke, thrown off the noose of one of these nasty species.
Really? It's the first time?
This is this is what's going on. So, everybody showed up here. All of the, 100 light species here, and at some point in the not so distant past, they actually sealed this solar system because it was just turning into a festival. The Arcturians shut it off. They said, okay, nobody's getting out of here. We're going to lock this in, and we're going to sort it out to see who comes out on top. And so far, it's us humans.
It's a grand plan. The Arcturians, the Palladians, the Andromedans, they've all just worked to make this happen, but it all was based on the voluntary incarnation of light beings taking human form, so they couldn't say it was intervention, because then we became human, and then we had to find our way, we had to remember, we had to become the light like we were, and some of us didn't, we got caught up in the karma and failed and maybe had to come back. But now at this point there's enough of us that are actually creating the frequency and vibration that is changing it.
Well, look, exactly right. There is 144,000 that were sent of these highly developed souls who come from all over, and they recruited across the galaxy. There's people from everywhere.
Volunteers,
yeah. Come on, this has got to be the craziest job ever. Go to that nutball planet and
lose all your memory.
So deep undercover that you forget.
Yeah, just immerse yourself in negativity.
And then I want you to wake up and start a revolution.
Yeah, pretty much.
And it's working.
Yeah, it really did.
But the calculations were that they needed about 73,000 souls.
That's it?
That's all they needed. But they sent 144,000 just because, like, why not double down on this one?
Play it safe. I mean, I hear that there's like 200 million like workers now that are involved. Maybe they're not the elite 144, but it's an accelerated pace that we're on. Like we're speeding up this whole. It's supposed to take apparently hundreds of years to do what we're doing in like months, a short period of time. A lot of turmoil too that comes with it, and even physically people are feeling it. Because you mentioned that the whole beginning of March, you took down the WHO, and you were excited. You were like, I'm curious to see how things kind of progress from here. And then I would have to say emphatically that the month of March was most intense, spiritual, like light beams of intensity that were filtering in from me personally. That I'm convinced that it had something to do with what you guys did with the WHO, taking down that tremendous like sucker, and it just kind of freed up our ability to absorb these light beams. I think so.
We've had really clear, direct moments where we worked on that guy last night, and then he's on the media saying that the following morning. And so one thing I will say is we had a good hard hit at the WHO, and March was the same month that Pfizer was forced to release its safety warning. So there's 1,250 negative side effects. And the share price, when that was released, the share price plummeted, and it's been withdrawn from the stock exchange. It's a non-company now. And I don't know, like, I'm not going to say that we're responsible for that, but I'm going to say that we did contribute. Right? There's a lot of people, we weren't the only people who were attacking that whole WHO Pfizer group. Because there's a lot of media people, there's a lot of people who work within the systems and within government offices and within Pfizer itself who wanted to shut that show down. And we just gave it a push. Like our stuff, we see the results when we work it.
That's amazing. I mean, how about any American governmental agencies? Have you hit the White House, or, I mean, what's going on with them? Like, have they? Is it a movie we're watching? Have they already been arrested? Is it clones? Is it robots? Because it just seems like they're not organic human beings anymore.
But now they've all got to fight for their lives, because only one of those two groups is actually going to get to work with the Mantis. The other one's going to collapse into the. Oh,
so now it's the Mantis they're trying to work with.
Yeah, they're fighting to see who gets primacy, who will ally with the Mantis, who the Mantis will choose. And so we're watching them fight each other like never before. It used to be that the two sides would fight each other with gloves on, with cotton wool, and nobody ever really got hurt. But over the last couple of years, they want to see each other's blood. They must destroy their competitors. And that's why we're seeing this sort of stuff.
So now they were serving their master of the reptilians, and now the reptilians have left, so they've been informed that your new master is going to be the Mantis, and if you want to get a good seat and you want to get a good position and power, you better get chosen by the Mantis. So they immediately just change like their alliance, and they say, okay, we're with you now, the Mantis. But now the Mantis, they're not the same as reptilians. It's not like they're drinking blood. It's not like they're shape-shifting. They have a different way of going about things. So now they're going to start adopting their philosophies. I guess the chip is one.
They're talking about is the surveillance state.
Yeah, that's all Mantis influenced. AI.
Yeah, the Mantis can't understand us humans. We're too erratic. We're too emotional. We're too complex for them. So the way that they rule their other planets and the way they want to rule this one.
Yeah.
And so this giant push is a direct result of that change of the guard for planet Earth.